Win big with new DRF All Access past performances. With one best-in-class product, you now get all 3 past performance formats. Go to DRF.com and use coupon code 1FREEPP for a free single card today.
Dan Illman, Mike Beer taking a look at race number 10 at Del Mar on Breeders' Cup Saturday. It's the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Sprint. Let's take a look at the field of these speedsters going 3/4 of a mile for $2 million. Mike, this entire year, this division has been looking for a breakout star. Yeah. Maybe we'll see one on Saturday.
I hope so. This is a really tough race to handicap, and I see no standout in here. Federal Judge, the number 3, a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old, he's the 3-1 morning line favorite. This horse has something to prove, though, at a short price. Talk to me about the pace here, Dan. There's a lot of speed in here, no?
There is a lot of speed in here, and we'll throw up the Timeform US pace projector. We know that Federal Judge likes to go. Raging Torrent from the inside probably has to show speed to get out of that post position 1 without any kind of issues. I think those 2 are going to go, but also you've got Skelly on the far outside, and I honestly think this. There's a chance Straight No Chaser's faster than them all.
That's how I looked at it, too. Straight No Chaser's a really fast horse, but you know what? Against this kind of a field, if they have designs on the lead, he better be fast, because there are going to be other horses going.
Raging Torrent is a 3-year-old that has gotten good at the right time. He's won his last 3 starts, including this race. The Pat O'Brien going 7/8 of a mile at Del Mar. There was not a lot of pace on in this race, but Raging Torrent shows a lot of grit in the stretch to turn back the Chosen Vron, who is a win machine.
Yeah, he took down a really, really nice older horse in this race. It's a very strong performance from Raging Torrent. It's a little unfortunate for them, I guess, that he drew the rail den, because I don't know what options they have now, but this horse has earned a couple of figures that suggest he fits with these fields. I don't think it's impossible for him to sit a little bit and still run. This horse is pretty good. I'm not throwing him out.
Gun Pilot is the number 2. Give him some pace to work with, and he can come with a run, as he did when he won the 7-furlong Churchill Downs Stakes on Kentucky Derby week. He did not run well in the True North at Saratoga. I was really looking forward to seeing what he was going to do that day, and he just never picked up his feet. And last time out in the Forgo, he was no match for Mulligan. Maybe Speed did well that day?
Speed did do well that day, but I still didn't feel like this horse put in, some kind of compelling performance to be second best in there. He was trending the right way up to that Grade 1 win earlier this year, Dan. He got the job done there. I was expecting big things from him. It hasn't happened.
Federal Judge returned off a lengthy layoff for Brad Cox and has come back firing, winning 2 of 3, including this race, his most recent start, the Grade 3 Phoenix, where he blasted to the early lead. And I know those fractions look fast, 44, but it just seemed like he was doing it very well within himself, and he spurts clear to win. Speed did very well this day.
The track that was very kind to Speed. Two starts back at Saratoga. He ran another fast race on a day a track was really carrying Speed, so he's maybe a little dressed up in here. I'm not suggesting he can't run at all. He's a pretty good horse. Tough to take as the favorite.
Nakatomi is up next, and we know he can step with these. He ran very well to be 3rd in last year's Breeders' Cup Sprint, and he took them down in the Vanderbilt 2 starts back, and he showed a lot more tactical speed in that race. And you know something? He's got that in the holster if he needs it, but I think he's going to sit back and try to make one run as he did in the Phoenix, and I think that racetrack just played against him. He was bias compromised.
Yeah, he didn't break great in that race, and they just weren't really that aggressive with him. They allowed him to sit back. He was running at the end, but he was never going to get there. I think it was a perfect prep. His win 2 starts back, that was a real quality performance. That he got the right trip and ride in there, but he also really ran. He got a figure for it.
Number 5 is Don Frankie, a horse coming in from Japan, and this guy's got a little bit of speed as well. Scored last time out over the summer in August. I thought it was an okay performance. He does have speed. I'm not sure if he has some of the speed like Straight No Chaser, and I wonder about the class questions as well.
I have the same questions about him too. I mean, just his running style is what does it for me. I know that he ran really well in the Golden Shaheen 2 starts back when he beat a couple of these horses, but to me, he had the good trip that day, and a couple of the other horses that are back in this spot, they didn't.
The 6-Ben Tornado is a perfect 5 for 5 sprinting around 1 turn, and he earned a figure last time out against fellow 3-year-olds in this race, the Gallant Bob, where there wasn't a lot of closing going on. The pace was basically held up all the way around, and maybe the rail was also good at Parks on Pennsylvania Derby Day, but I did like the heart and determination he showed in the stretch. He doesn't necessarily need the lead to win. I think he's a little bit underrated.
Another forward move in that race, too. His figures just keep going the right way. That he's probably got to move forward again against this field. I'm not sure his running style necessarily plays here, although he's been effective without the lead in the past too. I don't know, man. I had a hard time talking myself into him, but I can't knock what he's done on the racetrack.
Maeda Max comes from Japan off a victory back in August. The 12th place finisher of that race came back to place in a listed stake. He hasn't been facing the top guns over there, however, and I wonder if of the Japanese, he might be the one with the most work to do.
Yeah, I was worried about that too, especially you can see it right there on the paper too. Every time they sort of step him up into the tougher races, he's just not there.
Straight No Chaser, the number 8, unfortunately has had his share of physical issues because he was getting really good during the spring of 2023 with a couple of blowout efforts, and then unfortunately he got hurt. He came back in the Run Happy Stakes, and he actually ran a lot better than it looks on paper because he stumbled at the break, rushed up to set a fast pace, and tired. All in his first start in about a year's time. Last time out in the Santa Anita Sprint Championship, he didn't have to work as hard to make the lead, and he made that weak field pay.
I mean, it's an easy win for him. It's probably just what this horse needed just to get sort of back on track. You mentioned last year, he just looked like he was headed in the direction of being maybe one of the best sprinters in the country, and he was sidelined. Then he had another issue out of the Run Happy, misses more time after that. Right back on track last time. Really impressive win.
Of the Japanese horses, I fancy the 9 Remake the most. This is a horse that's shown himself to be a proven international competitor. He won the Riyadh Dirt Sprint in Saudi Arabia earlier this year, and he might have the right running style for this race because he's not a speedball. He'll sit back and he will make a strong run.
I like that about him too. I think this is a really dangerous horse in here. He was also in that Golden Machine. He and Nakatomi, they really had tough trips in that race, and they both ran really well, and they might both have the right running style for this race.
Mulligan is up next, and he comes out of a big Beyer performance. All this guy's done is win 4 in a row for Rudy Brissett, including the Grade 1 4-go with a 100 Beyer speed figure. He went to the front on a day that seemed to favor speed, but he drowned him in the stretch.
Another horse who's just bringing really good form into this race, Dan, and not the kind of horse that I necessarily want to knock, but he had a great trip in that Grade 1 win last time, right up on the lead. His main rival stumbled badly at the start, took himself out of contention, and after that, Mulligan's job was just made that much easier.
Skelly won 7 in a row before he went to Saudi Arabia, and he ran quite well to finish second to Remake. He made the pace that day, and Remake kicked him down. And while Skelly's run well since he's returned from his international excursion, it hasn't been the same Skelly. Last time out, he just didn't fire his best shot. It looked like he had the race won in upper stretch, and he hasn't had that killer instinct in some of his starts since coming back. And sometimes his first step away from the gate isn't great either.
Yeah, I didn't like that about him either. He does have an outside post, so maybe he will break fine in here. To me, I'm just kind of done with him, Dan. To me, he's a horse who's not as good as he looks on paper.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Mike, where you going?
I'm going to take Nakatomi in here, Dan. I really feel like he and Remake could be the right horses in here. I got them 1, 2. I want to use them both prominently. I think they're both going to get the right setup.
I'm hunting for a price in here. Again, Ben Tornado's never lost a one-turn sprint. As Mike mentioned, his Beyer speed figures keep improving with each and every start. And I don't think he's necessarily a need-the-lead type. It is going to be a tough spot, but I'm hoping he still has some upside potential at a pretty big price. I'll go Ben Tornado. Mike's going with Nakatomi and Remake in the Breeders' Cup Sprint, a wide-open, great betting race. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like and subscribe button below for more great DRF content, including Race of the Days, stakes previews, and lots more. You can find it right here.